episode of Grandma's Room. I'm Ben. I'm here with Joffrey and Jordan. This is episode 12, and today we're going to talk about American history, the Jewish Avengers, and the Battle of Stalingrad. Joffrey, would you like to start off?
Okay. I got it. Okay. The Battle of Stalingrad was when the German army tried to invade Russia, which was a very huge fucking mistake on their part. But it started on August 23rd, 1942, and ended on February 2nd, 1943. So this battle took months. And it's one of the most destructive battles in history, and some people even say it was the most destructive battle ever on Earth. Mm-hmm. And in the end, from this one battle, there were close to 2 million casualties, soldiers and civilians. And just a brief overview of it. I mostly did stories of people that were there. Okay. But I'll just give a brief overview of it. So in August 1942, German 6th Army and the 4th Panzer Army, which I believe is the tanks, their tank division. Mm-hmm. They What?
That was your dog.
Oh. But they moved to take the Russian city, and by mid-November they pushed the Russians back to the Volga River, which is in Stalingrad. Which a river is obviously a huge barrier for people to
fight
try
across.
Try to retreat over, which comes up later.
Okay.
But in the initial push, the German army was helped out by the Luftwaffe, which was their air force. They just did massive bombing raids over the city, and they nearly reduced the whole city to just ash. It was fucking destroyed. And I'll post some pictures of it once we put this podcast up. I'll put it up on Instagram. It's insane how destroyed the city was. And in November 19th, in Operation Uranus, the Russian Red Army, which was they just called the Red Army. That's just what the Russian army was called. Mm-hmm. They attacked the Romanian and Hungarian armies, which were protecting the German armies. So they pretty much used those armies as a barrier for them, which is a very German, World War II German thing to do. Oh my God! If you hear barks, we're not stopping. But the 6th Army was eventually overrun and surrounded, and they were starved for supplies for 2.5 months until February 2nd. And that's when they surrendered to the 6th Army. To the Red Army. And I'll go into some stats here before I do this, go into stories. So on the Axis side, which is Germany, Hungary, and
the bad guys?
Yeah, the bad guys. They had approximately 850,000 casualties just in this battle.
Jesus.
And just think of your school. The 400 people in our school. Okay. Seems like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now think of 850,000.
So what is that divided? I'm trying to think of how many schools of us would be killed. Here,
let's see.
I'll do it.
Let's just say 400 times 2. You know what? I'll just let you do the math. I'll keep talking.
Yeah.
So it was 400,000 Germans, 200,000 Romanians, and 130,000 Italians, and then 20,000 Hungarians. What? You got it?
Yeah. All right, that comes out to exactly 2,125 of our schools.
Oh my God. That's just on the Axis side.
Yeah.
And then of all the Soviet prisoners of war, Germans that Soviets took prisoner,
Captive.
Only 5,000 returned to Germany in the end.
Jesus.
Yeah. Which I kind of get on the Soviets' part. If they just destroyed your city and killed your civilians and everything, I can see them killing. Mm-hmm. But on the Soviet side, there was 1,129,619 total casualties. I don't know how they got that exact number. I'm sure it's a little off, but
yeah.
There was 478,741 that were either killed or captured, and then over 650,000 that were wounded, and more than in 1 week of the Luftwaffe bombing, 40,000 civilians were killed in 1 week of their bombing. So that's civilians. That's people that were they had nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. But in total it was 1.7 to 2 million total casualties. So I'll go into some of the stories now. There's a Russian civilian named Boris Serafimovich Krzyzhanovsky, and this is a quote from him. He said, "The massive bombing of the city began on August 23rd, 1942, right after dinner. In 2 days, the city was destroyed. The central district where I lived was the first to be destroyed. It was one of the most horrible days. The earth literally trembled. It was terrifying. We took cover in a bomb shelter. The next day our house was gone. I had nothing but underwear left. And he said about a couple months later in October, quote, I remember a day in October. The bombing raids had become rarer. I remember hopping around the ruins when a German plane suddenly appeared. It was so low that I could clearly see the pilot's face, a young man sitting in his cockpit and smiling. Just give me a minute. I can even remember that smile. He was firing away with his machine gun. I ran and he missed me. It hadn't occurred to me to just lie low, but he missed me. So, like, the Russian and Germans were both, like, extremely brutal to each other. Like I said, like, they killed a ton of the German POWs. And, the Russians wanted, like, nothing more than revenge because they just destroyed their city and killed tens of thousands of their civilians. And, there's a Russian soldier named Shorin Mirzoyan. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. But, he said, I was like a beast. I wanted only one thing, to kill. You know how it looks when you squeeze a tomato and juice comes out? Well, it looked like that when I stabbed them. Blood everywhere. Every step in Stalingrad meant death. Death was in our pockets. Death was walking with us. And like I said earlier, it's somewhat understandable that he wanted to kill the Germans that bad. Especially, I don't know if they knew then what they were doing in, like, concentration camps. Like, didn't we not know until... we didn't know until we, like, invaded Germany.
Yeah, until, like, after we started liberating them.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think at this point they knew, because this was, like, 43.
Mm-hmm.
But, I can't say that I know what it's like to feel, but obviously they've seen their city destroyed, killed. Families would suffocate to death in makeshift bomb shelters that were, like, collapsed on top of them. Jesus. Like, a lot of people saw that. And people even were, like, along the shores of the Volga River, people were even, like, forced to eat clay to survive, like mud.
Jesus.
Because, like, everything was destroyed, and you can't really get supplies in when you're trying to feed, like, 1 million soldiers that are fighting in the city. And, and like I said earlier, they were, like, I told you how, like, that river was like a barrier. It made it way more difficult.
Yeah.
There were ships on the Volga trying to evacuate troops that were destroyed. Like, they would be ships going across the river, like, shipping hundreds of soldiers over, trying to get them away from the city.
Like, Germans or Russians?
Russians. Like, I'm guessing so they can actually, like, get a foothold and, like, try to defend better.
Yeah.
But it seemed like every time they would try to get ships across, the Germans would just come and bomb the ships too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an Albert Berkowski. He said, we were lying on the ground. Everything was on fire. The boats were being bombed and shelled. I saw a big barge full of soldiers with their big coats, grenades, sappers' blades, ammunition, and machine guns go right down before my eyes. Another soldier, Ivan Shalayev, saw the same boat go down and said there was a flash of flame, dark smoke enveloped the ferry, and an explosion was heard, and immediately afterwards, a dawning scream. The ship was maneuvering, then a sheet of fire erupted on the upper decks. The force of the explosion shook the Volga. When it was over and the smoke had cleared away, there was nothing. Just waves where the ferry had been, and then the scene froze our blood. And some people said you were better off being dead than becoming prisoners of war. I hope we can't hear her barking, because I can't hear it through the headphones, but...
Probably not. Only probably through Ben's mic, maybe.
I don't know. Well, I hope you guys don't hear it, but if you do, that's Myra. But there's a German panzer driver. His name was Johann Scheins, and he was a Russian prisoner, and he said there was 27 wounded prisoners on the floor below him in the building he was in. And I wasn't totally sure what his situation was. I think he was, like, in a building, like, being guarded by Soviets. Like, I think they were already all prisoners.
Okay.
But, he talked about a man that he knew was a boxer from Ramshed, which I think that's a place in Germany. I didn't look into Ramshed. But, he said the boxer had been shot in the knee, and his leg was only being held together by the tendons. And he also said the Russians came in, and they all had to leave. They ended up being 50 meters from Red Square, which I think was the middle of the city. I'm pretty sure it sounds like it, at least. Mm-hmm. But he said he heard a large burst of machine gun fire, and the 27 men from the floor below him were all shot dead in a line. Like, they were just executing people that they caught. Mm-hmm. That's why only 5,000 of them made it back after the war. But On both sides, the fighting... Wait. Fuck. Continuing the savagery of both sides in the fighting, German battalion commander recalls his experience when he was first sent to the Eastern Front. He said, "All of a sudden we were deployed against Russia. Now the war became different, totally different. It was more aggressive. It had nothing to do with humanity. From the start, we saw that there were men whose genitals were cut off, the head cut off, the eyes cut out. Such things did not happen in the West. With my own eyes, I saw female soldiers who dug themselves into the earth. They did not surrender. They shot until the last bullet. Totally fanatical, unbelievable. And these were women. This didn't exist on the Western Front. Women in combat, that did not exist. Well, and later on, there were the partisan activities. People walking around in disguise and suddenly shooting at you. And it was so cruel that we said back here one does not know who is an armed enemy and who is coming along for the ride." And it, like, sounds like hell on earth, dude.
It sounds kind of familiar today,
What do you mean?
like the Middle East, because we don't really know where our enemies are, kind of.
Yeah, I guess in a way. But they never had fighting like this over there.
Yeah.
But there are also strange parts when the Germans and Russians had like weird agreements. And Captain Gerard Murch, I think his name is. I think that's how you say it, Murch, of the German army. He said, "From October to the end of January, we stayed put at the same spot. Germans and Russians in the same house. There was a way to get to this dining hall from our side. For the Russians, there was also an entrance. When the Russians ate, we couldn't disturb them. It would immediately become uncomfortable for us if we did that. We knew that they were starting their dining period when we heard the clattering of pots and pans. So at that point, there would be peace and quiet. And when we ate, they had to stop fighting too. One had to accept that existence side by side. Well, both sides dealt very well with the situation, you have to admit. So, like, they were just in the same building, and just, like, when the Germans would eat, Russians would stop fighting and vice versa. I guess because they just wanted, like, some semblance of peace. But, some Russian civilians would even help German soldiers, which is strange to me, because they, like, destroyed their city. But I guess there is, like, humanity. Like, if you were just, like, forced to join the army and you didn't want to be there, it's not like you supported the bombing of the city or anything. I'm not sympathizing.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm saying that, like, not all of them, not either side of any war, not everyone's bad.
Yeah.
But, Wolfgang Reinhardt, which was a German, he was injured and unable to walk when two Russian women came out of a nearby house and carried him in to look after him, and they were, like, taking care of him. And he was, like, scared because he thought this would cause something bad to happen. I'm guessing if, like, Germans found him and he was being cared for by Russians.
Mm-hmm.
But, he said the Russian women seemed to know this. Fucking Myra.
Damn.
But, he said they started taking him back to where they found him until a German tank drove by, and he was able to get to the command post. Like, they took him, and I guess they left the Russian women to, like, go on their way.
Mm-hmm.
But he said from that moment on, I like the Russians. They have a wonderful mentality. So, like I said, there's some humanity. And I'm almost done with my bit. It's getting really hot in here.
Yeah, it is.
You need to open a window.
That'll make it loud.
Yeah.
It looks red outside right now.
Yes, it does. Like pink over here.
I think it's the sun.
Wonder if that's because, like, our room's so blue. No, I mean, it looks really red.
You
from
should
where
try
I'm sitting.
changing the color.
To red? To dark red?
Yeah, and see if that makes a difference.
Stand by, people. We were changing. Nah, it's the
That
same.
made no difference.
Wait, open it this way?
Ben's gonna look now. Red.
Oh, yeah. It made it look whiter.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'll get back to my stuff so people actually listen.
Yeah, good idea.
But, you wanna go, bud?
Let's fight.
But, Pepe Simith, Pepe, he volunteered for the German army when he was 17, and him and others in his regiment fought in Stalingrad, and around 1,000 of the men in his regiment were killed. That's just in his, like, group of people, 1,000 of them were killed,
Mm-hmm.
and he was one of the 9 survivors.
God.
Yeah.
Shit.
And, for the next 6 years, he was a Russian prisoner. And he said the Russians only fed them salted fish and water, and they were put on train cars, which is ironic because what did the Germans do? But he said he had no idea where they were going, and within weeks they were in Siberia, which is like the roughest part of Russia, like where the gulags are. And said they were hit with sticks as the prisoners were being counted, but he said the hunger that they felt was worse than the beatings, which I hope I never have to feel that.
It'd be nice.
Because I don't like being hungry, like, at noon. But he said they built their own camps while they were prisoners, and they were barely fed enough to survive. He dropped 90 pounds throughout the years that he was there. And said throughout all of this, he was saved by a Russian doctor when the doctor gave him vodka and a little bit of food to eat.
Ooh.
But
Sounds like a good mix.
yeah, barely any food and vodka.
Just get trashed.
He said in 1947, the Soviets released a couple prisoners, but not him because he was still strong. And he was sent to mine asbestos. And he said they would chew on the asbestos to live like gum because they were so hungry. So like...
Wait, they would chew on asbestos?
Yeah, like gum. Because they were like starving.
Won't that kill you?
Well, dude. Would you rather... Would you rather die of starvation?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably.
I think you'd probably think different if you were in his shoes.
Yeah. I guess maybe they didn't know that asbestos was so bad back then, too.
That's probably why they built with it.
Yeah.
But he said he was set free in 1949 and went home to Paschal, Germany.
Wait. They kept him like 4 years after.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Because the Soviets were brutal up until like the 90s. But he said he was set free to Paschal, Germany, where he went to work in a butcher shop owned by his family.
End of story?
Yep. That's all I have on Stalingrad.
That's a neat one. Wait.
What?
It's just crazy how he went through all that shit, and it's just like, then he became the butcher.
He became the butcher.
Yep.
But yeah, that's all I have on Stalingrad, boys.
Okay.
I don't know why I kept these headphones on the whole time. I was hearing like an echo of our voices the whole time.
Is the volume still good?
Yeah, the volume's still fun. So.
Am I up? All right. Well, I'm going to be talking about how this country was kind of built. And it was built in a way that involved a lot of indentured servitude, which is almost a form of slavery. So if you don't know what indentured servitude is, it's basically you sign up to come here knowing that you're not going to get pay, but you're going to have somewhere to live, and you have a certain amount of time. You have to live there. So it could be at a factory or a plantation, and a lot of them were at factories.
Or an island?
No.
Oh.
Someday, man. Inside jokes.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day we'll explain that one. Probably not,
Probably
though.
not.
Probably never. So they would take anyone, women, children,
Dogs.
men, yeah, dogs probably. Dogs have to sign. But when you got here, they would force you to do labor. And it wasn't slavery. Like, it wasn't quite slavery, but...
Because they signed up for it.
Yeah, but extremely close. Like, they knew what they were getting into, but they signed up for it.
I actually never knew, like, the actual definition of an indentured servant.
Yeah, it was hell. It wasn't good. Yeah. Like, they barely fed them. Like, and it was mainly to keep profits up.
Mm.
So, they wanted, like, in order to boost our economy, they wanted really cheap labor back then. And this is like 1700s, early 1800s. And they wanted, like, really cheap labor. And, like, I guess it would be, back then it would have been, like, weaving stuff. So they mainly have women come and do that. And, like, children. And then the men would be working in, like, I don't know if they'd be working on plantations. They'd have both men and women working on plantations, too.
Well, like, do they...
And
was this too early for factories? Like, was that before the industrial age?
Yeah.
Related?
The industrial age, they still kind of did some shit like this. Well, it wasn't quite.
The industrial age was fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, until, like, the early 1900s.
Yeah.
They actually made laws to give people humanity.
Yeah. But this time period was really messed up, and they would try and separate, like, say that you and your wife signed up to come here as indentured servants. They would try to separate you so that you wouldn't have kids, basically. But they would tell you that you're going to the same place. And then they just rip you apart. And then, say you did get pregnant, a woman got pregnant, for the time that she had to take care of that baby, they would add like double the sentence onto her
Holy
indentured
shit.
servitude.
So if she cared for the kid for 4 years, she'd have an extra 8 years?
Yeah.
Fuck that, dude.
Yeah, so you just get screwed into it. And they could add time, too. Part of the thing that I think they signed, I don't know if it said it or not, but they could add time on however they felt necessary. If you weren't doing your job good enough, they just
What
add
if you
time.
just ran away? What would the repercussions be? Could you be arrested for breaking a
Oh,
contract?
yeah.
You'd probably be hunted down.
I don't know
think
what...
I'd rather be hunted down than live through that shit.
Yeah, and I don't know what the exact, like, punishment was for that, but I'm sure it was not good. I don't think it was death. Might have been.
Well, they didn't really care about people getting beaten either back then.
That's true. Yeah. And the weird thing is, though, it said, like, half of those people that came over here like that, there was, like, white people. And half of them were black, too. So it wasn't just, like, slavery. Like, slavery was, like, mostly black people. But then this was, like, a good bit of white people signing up from, like, Europe to come over.
Like Ireland and
Yeah.
all those.
Yeah, a lot of them were from Ireland, actually.
Mm.
And they were just looking for a better life. Then they'd sign that, come over here, and just get completely fucked.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, because they'd be stuck here. And then, was fast forwarding to, like, the Civil War. Abe Lincoln, like, he didn't own slaves, even though that comes off as, like, a myth. Sometimes people say he owned slaves.
That Abe Lincoln did.
Yeah, he didn't.
Did you, just a quick side note,
Yes.
do you see that they're trying to, like, call the Mount Rushmore white supremacy?
Are you
Really?
kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
Why?
I don't know. How much you want to see they, like, tear it down?
Well,
How much you want to bet?
I think their reasoning, though, is the only, like fathomable reason I can think of is that those 4 men up there did not believe in equality for...
I mean,
Are you
Abe
sure?
Lincoln set the slaves free.
And Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, he did, but it wasn't all in good intentions.
I mean, but he still did.
And,
Yeah.
like, what about...
Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt?
Yeah, he was, like, what, early 1900s?
I think. No, I think it was 1800s, wasn't he?
It was somewhere towards the end or beginning.
He was a Rough Rider.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just not get into it.
Yeah, probably not. But the one thing that I did see about Abe Lincoln is he made a statement in one of his debates, and I don't know if he was just saying it because he wanted to get into office and he knew he needed to win some people on the...
Wait, who is it that said this? Lincoln?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if he needed to win some people over that were on the South side, but he said that I will say then that I am not, nor have ever been, in favor of bringing about in any way the social and political equality of the white and black races. Yeah.
Damn.
He wasn't totally for... He definitely helped make slavery not a thing, but it was mainly to push his political side, whichever got him there, whatever got him elected too.
That seems like a lot of that happens today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very
he wasn't
familiar.
he wasn't the best guy. Like, history kind of is written to make him sound like.
But he's better than a lot of them.
Yeah.
In
a way.
The only reason I say that, because I barely know anything about him, he is the one who freed the slaves.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big thing.
And at least he
Yeah.
didn't own slaves.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. A lot of the previous presidents did own slaves.
And didn't the South hate him? Like, he had to...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he got...
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a story about him that they stopped, like, on his... I don't know if it was on the way to some speech. They stopped the train and they couldn't like, go at
past?
night because of the sound ordinance. They didn't like trains going through some city. I forget what city it was.
Are you serious?
But even though he was like the president-elect, they were
Yeah.
like, you can't just run one train tonight. They're like, nah. So I think it was the Pinkertons. You know the Pinkertons?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that pretty sure the guy who started that,
Alan
Pinkerton, I think he was like on his like security detail. So they detached his train car and pulled it by horse through the city at night because they heard talkings of him, like an assassination plot. So they got him out of the city, like pulling a train by horse.
Did you learn that on Drunk History?
No, that was on Time Suck. I heard that.
Oh, they had an episode on drunk history. That same story.
Oh.
It was in Baltimore, I think.
Oh
In
yeah,
Maryland.
didn't Charlie Kelly play him? The Pinkerton? Yeah, Charlie Kelly played Pinkerton on that. I remember that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then there's that weird stuff too where people argue that the South wasn't racist.
Bullshit.
And just
Yeah.
quick correction. His name's not Charlie Kelly. His name's Charlie Day.
Okay.
Did you say? I didn't even pay
I
attention.
No,
'cause
he
I
said
heard it.
Charlie Kelly.
Oh, well, I heard
That's
it,
his
and I
name on
knew
Always
exactly
Sunny.
what you were talking
Yeah.
about, and then I was just like,
I meant
Yeah, I was-
Charlie Day.
I was trying to think of who you were talking about. I was like, who is this?
Yeah. Charlie.
Charlie Day. Let's get Charlie on the podcast.
What they call him at his high school? Dirt Grub.
Dirk Grub and Ronnie the Rat. If you don't watch any Always Sunny, you're gonna need to start watching it if you want to understand any inside jokes on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Get on it.
Get on it now.
What were you saying, Jordan?
Sorry, yeah, I just like completely.
Oh no, I was
Derailed
just saying that the South was clearly racist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly,
Yeah.
and there's no denying it. But
Dude, have you heard how like they tried to rewrite history like after like the Civil War to make them sound good?
oh yeah,
Yeah, but
like-
do you ever hear the term the victor? Wait, history is written by the victor? I'm pretty sure the South lost. So how would they try to rewrite his
like,
history?
I watched a video in like
I'm not calling you a liar. I'm
yeah,
just saying, like,
I know.
it's pretty dumb on there.
Like I think up until the 70s they had textbooks like idolizing like all these like southern like generals and stuff like that and like
Shit.
like making the South look glorious.
Mm-hmm. That's not good.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, and then like people get mad about the statues coming down, and I like that's history. I get that like that argument, but then when you look at it though, when I heard on the Joe Rogan podcast, a lot of those came up,
in the 20s.
yeah, as like a fuck you to the civil
It's-
rights movement.
Yeah.
It's like what it's really meant for, or like the underlying purpose of it is pretty
It's
bad.
the implication.
Yes, the
It's
implication.
It's
Exactly.
another Always Sunny reference.
Yeah.
Get on it.
So
You're
I,
certainly not
I mean,
in
I
danger.
understand. I kind of understand that.
I can understand it as long as they're not destroyed. I think they should be put in like a museum somewhere.
Maybe. Well, yeah, because yeah,
I wouldn't-
I can understand why they're mad.
Put it in a museum, in my opinion, so that like you still have that history. But I don't,
Maybe you
Or
can
write
like,
it correctly and say that these were put up in order to, like,
put
yeah,
down
and
people.
what the generals actually did and like
Yeah.
whose side they were on. But like I think I kind of get why they want to take down the statues and like put up actual like people who
Good
fought
people.
for like
yeah,
freedom
that
for all people.
It does.
Yeah.
Make,
Like
it
Rosa
does make
Parks
sense.
and like people like that.
Yeah, because we can't forget history though. That's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Put
yeah.
it in
So
a
we
museum.
need to do some. Yeah.
Someone made an argument saying like I don't know if you guys know this, but like this how the swastika is banned in Germany.
Yeah.
Like they said that they don't need statues of their leaders to remind them of history.
Yeah, that would be really weird. Imagine that being in
Hitler?
Germany and Hitler, like a Hitler statue.
It's history.
Like
that's
the
almost
same,
that's almost what's going on
yeah.
here.
It's exactly what's happening.
Not that.
Yeah, not that-
to that extent.
I mean,
but-
but you get the idea.
yeah,
like-
yeah, same concept.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still bad people that we. Like they didn't know it was bad back then. I mean, did they though? They
I
probably
think
did.
they knew.
Pretty sure if you're beating another human
Yeah,
to work for you,
yeah,
that
you
is-
can't think it's morally correct. I guess.
I think it was a way to get like massive profits at the
Yeah.
expense of other people that you thought were lesser than you.
Holy fuck. They were terrible people.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that's abundantly clear.
Yeah. I don't think there's any good in that. Well, no, there's no good in there.
I'm making my toes look like a flower right now.
There's. There was probably good. Well, there was good people in the South though, like plantation owners that actually like took care of their slaves.
Yeah.
I think I heard, and they would actually help people escape, or they would like get their slaves out of there.
There were plantation owners that did that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
there's stories of it, and like they would actually treat them good and stuff. And
We
like,
should like do that. Those as topics
Yeah.
someday. That actually sounds
yeah,
really cool.
and they like some of the slaves like when they gave them the opportunity to leave, they were like, I don't want to leave. Like I like it here.
I want to be clear on my political, like, ideas real quick, just in case people get the wrong idea of what
Oh,
we're talking about.
Yeah,
I want what's best for everybody, and I think as long as you're not an asshole, you're fine in my book.
Yeah,
I think
agree with
that's the same for all three of us.
Yeah,
think
I'm
it's
just
the
saying
same
because everybody takes, not everybody, but like a lot of people take things the wrong way intentionally.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
To make it look good for their argument.
Yeah, just to make a big hubbub, as the kids say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, just whatever's good for people in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I don't want to get too political on
yeah,
this.
no,
but
just don't neglect people is the thing.
yeah, just don't be an asshole, pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't care what side you're on.
Nope.
As long as you're not a dick.
We gotta take care of each other, men
Men.
Yeah.
and boy.
Just,
In? Did you say men?
just
in?
assume Ben's gender right now?
Read,
Ben, what's your topic?
read
Read.
my lips.
Oh, yikers!
Okay, so the name the name of the group I did, like, I don't know how to pronounce it, so I mean, kind of staying with me. Nakam, Nakam, or they also call themselves Nokim,
Was it Knockham?
Nokmim, Nokmim, which
N-O-K?
Nokmim, which is the Hebrew word for Avenger.
Oh,
So they
nice.
literally called themselves the Avengers,
Nice.
which I think is pretty badass.
Is that where the Avengers came from?
Who knows? Who knows? But during the Second World War, some of the Jews that were captured and put in the ghettos before they went, I'm not laughing at the thing. Jordan and Joffrey are flapping their arms.
This is so fucking hot,
Try
here,
and-
dude.
I just want to make that clear because this isn't a good time to laugh. Like,
yeah.
Okay. All right, now. So whenever the Jews were put in the ghettos and the Nazis occupied Europe, they decided to rebel against the Nazis instead of facing flat-out death. Like, they tried to put up some sort of fight. And in the ghettos, some of the younger Jews, they band together to try and fight their captors. But the problem was they didn't even have a single gun.
Mhm.
So, like, that's pretty difficult to do.
But if you take a couple people out,
Yeah.
get the guns.
Those who weren't captured or somehow escaped, they would fight the Nazis, like, in the trees, in, like, woods.
Yeah.
They'd kind of hide, and then they just
Like
kind of
ambush them.
yeah, they'd ambush them. Like, you know that one mission in World War II for Call of Duty when you attack the train?
Oh yeah, like the resistance fighters.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Oh, dude, I might do the French resistance for next week,
Nice.
unless you have stuff in it for this one. But sorry.
Oh, you're fine. After the war had ended, the remaining Jews didn't think that the Nuremberg trials were enough retribution. After the death of 6 million Jews, only 24 men have been sentenced.
I
Yes.
agree.
Yes. Yes, I think we all can agree that that doesn't even come close. Or it
No.
doesn't even start to come close to retribution.
24 people,
Yeah, 24.
and in turn of
6 million.
6 million. That's just Jews that were killed. There was much
Oh, yeah.
more. Like,
Right now we're talking about the
Yeah,
Jews.
yeah.
So during the Passover celebration of 1945, which is, for those of you who don't know, the end of the Second World War, Abba Kovner called for the remaining Jews who survived that they should do unto what Germany had done unto them, reciting Psalm 94, where God tells his people that which I summarized this because it was pretty drawn out, it was pretty long, and there was some outdated language in there. It just said that bad people get what's coming to them, and so all these Jews that were there, they wanted to kill 6 million Germans by joining the new German police force, so they could do whatever they want.
Like
And-
from the inside. Like from the inside.
Yes. They would find, anytime they found a Nazi that went back, like, to being a normal civilian, they'd frame them for something, and then, like... So whenever... I'm not laughing again at this. Jordan's boxing his bike.
Happens every episode.
Yeah. Okay. So, they'd frame an ex-Nazi for a crime, that they didn't commit, so that they could literally do whatever they wanted to them, since they were cops.
Mm.
And most of the murders were done by hanging, like, so it looked like it'd just be ruled out as suicide.
Oh, like they would make it look like the German hung himself.
Yeah, it said one way the hangings were carried out was by having the person in a garage, and they'd stand the person on top of a car, and they'd drive out from under them.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I guess Nazis, man.
Yeah.
Others were taken out by hit and runs. Like, literally, they'd hit the person with the car and just keep driving.
I thought you meant they got out and ran.
No. And then they'd just leave them in the ditch where they landed in. They didn't really care what happened to them. One member of the Gestapo, is that it? Or
Yeah.
Gestapo? One member of the Gestapo was found dead, waiting for surgery after he had kerosene injected into him.
Holy fuck.
And it said that this was a minor surgery. Like, nothing he should have died from.
Kerosene.
Yeah. Kerosene.
It's like what you, that's
Yeah.
heaters.
If you
Yeah.
smoke a cigarette, you'll just you'll turn into a ball of fire.
I don't know.
It's in your blood.
How much kerosene?
Imagine that. Imagine you inject like a lot of kerosene and then you
And
smoke
you somehow
something.
still live.
Yeah. Maybe it makes your muscles big, kind of like that oil that people put in their muscles.
Oh, so they look ripped, but then in reality they're not.
Yeah. In reality, they're just weak little boys.
Balls
Yeah.
of water in their arms.
Yeah. Little balloons.
No one is for sure, though, how many Nazis died in the first, what they called, or one of their members called, the first hunting season.
Oh boy.
So they were, like, really serious about this.
I like it, dude.
Oh, yeah, me too. But the seasons, they lasted until the 50s. So you
Nice.
figure if they go from 45 to 55, that's 10 years.
It's 10 hunting seasons.
Yeah, 10 seasons of killing countless Nazis.
Dude, did you have to buy like a permit? Like hunting deer?
It's like Ron Swanson's permit, like, I do what I want. Did it say how many Germans were killed in total in
Well,
retribution? Like,
no one really knows, because, like, this was a super secret organization.
Did they have
Yeah.
taxidermy shops?
Jesus. My God. As I was saying, unfortunately, we know very little about this badass group of vigilantes, because most of them took their secret to the grave. So they were very hell-bent on not letting anyone know.
dude, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
If you were, can you imagine just being, like, persecuted in World War II? Just, like, your family is in the camps and stuff. You were in the camps. You got set free and you got the chance to, like, go after them.
This is kind of reminding me of what you're talking about with the Stalingrad, with, like, the Russians. Just, like, I think you said they left, like, 5,000.
5,000 Germans that got back home.
Yeah.
It's a small number.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that'd be dope to live like in that time period. Like, no, not in like.
Watch what you say.
I don't mean in the as being a Jewish person being, put in a concentration camp. I mean, if you lived in like Nazi Germany and you were a rebel and you just go around like liberating camps.
Oh, that'd be fucking awesome.
Oh, just
dude.
fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just
inconveniencing the Nazis as much as you
just
could.
doing everything you can.
I
Just
think
cause
that word,
a shit show.
that's a good word to describe this.
What?
Inconveniencing the Nazis.
Yeah. It's like slashing your tire.
The big dick boys are in town.
Stealing their toothbrush.
And these people, or I guess I shouldn't say these people, these guys, they were extremely efficient at tracking their prey. One ex-Nazi by the name of Alexander Lack, L-A-A-K, he was responsible for 100,000 Jews' death.
Kill him.
He had been tracked to Winnipeg, Canada. And one day while his wife was out, they forced him to hang himself.
Awesome.
They forced him to hang himself?
Yeah.
They didn't hang him, they forced him to?
Yeah.
How do you force someone to do that though?
Gunpoint.
I mean,
Probably.
Well, you're dying either
Or,
way.
I mean, or you could put the noose around their neck and then let them just step off? Or what?
I don't know.
What?
But, I mean, good for him, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That's well deserved.
It
He
said,
should have gotten worse, but still.
the original thing I read, it said that they did the civil thing and let them hang himself.
That's a civil thing.
Well, it's
Maybe
better
it was
than
like
being shot.
something in the movies where he just like, I'll do it myself.
He just falls backwards. He's like,
I think he should have gotten the like helicopter cannonball volcano treatment.
Oh my
that we
God,
were
yeah.
talking about.
What?
this was a
We'll bring
very
it up later.
Okay.
yeah. It kind of goes along with island stuff where I don't know if we should.
Not get into that realm on the podcast.
Yeah, probably not. We'll put you in after. It's
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm almost done though, so maybe we can talk about it soon. This, I think, coming up is maybe the coolest accomplishment that they've gotten. Was the assassination at one time of 1,900 ex-Nazis.
What do you mean at one time?
All right. So at a prison called Stalag 13, this was a prison just for Nazis. So they had a single supplier for their bread, and so they went to the place where they made it, and they poisoned approximately 3,000 loaves of bread.
Fuck. How did I never hear about this?
I don't know.
That is awesome.
But this wasn't even their first choice of how they were going to take out do this.
Mhm.
The first choice was to poison the Munich, Berlin, Weimar, Nuremberg, and Hamburg's water supply.
Why? But the civilians still drank out of that though.
Well, they wanted 6,000 Nazi deaths, and the Jews were
Well, I mean,
civilians.
no, I'm saying, but yeah, but like,
You gotta think, dude. They totally rallied behind Hitler, though. Everyone did.
not everyone. I'm just saying.
Mostly everyone.
I'm saying I get behind them killing Nazis. Like, I don't know if I can get behind them if they were just killing German civilians that were like.
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
they killed 6 million
No,
innocent
no.
people.
I'm saying I get it, but like, if you're gonna do it methodically. You can't. Then they're no better than the Nazis if they do that. Did they actually do that?
Well, they were going to, but they were only stopped after the original guy who started all this, Abba Kovner. He was caught by English soldiers with all this poison on him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I don't know if I could get behind that. Because what if a kid drinks it?
Yeah.
Like you have a little kid. He was an infant during the war. And Frank.
that's all I'm gonna say.
Fuck yeah. No. Okay. I get that the Germans did that, but if you do that and just kill a bunch of civilians in retaliation, then you're no better than them. I think I could get behind them if they went solely after Nazis.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad they didn't actually poison them because I'm still on their side right now.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're.
You see what I
coming
mean?
from. Yeah,
They-
but still, that'd be a pretty badass thing to carry out.
I don't know.
And
I don't
if
know
they
if I can
kept
get
it a
behind that.
secret too, can you imagine that if they kept it a secret and carried that out?
Wait, so they're poisoning?
They were
They were
going,
going
to.
to, but then they got caught.
Yeah, they could have killed a lot of people.
Like kids. But yeah, I get that the Nazis did horrible shit to kids too.
But we can't
But,
do it back.
No.
And they're kids. They didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, the Nazis did it, but be the bigger person and don't kill the kids back.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
But
So just kill the people who did it to you.
yes.
I don't know. I feel like I'm being rational. But
I think so.
I am all for them killing the Nazis. Trust
yes.
me. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying civilians that didn't necessarily support them.
Just dude, did you ever hear when Tim Kennedy was talking about the Nazis, and he said that he wouldn't mind if he was in South America, the amount of rage he had over Nazis, he would probably kill Hitler if he found him.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
I feel like most people would.
Yeah. And if not, don't listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Get the fuck.
We'll
out.
kill you.
Oh,
What's that from? That iDubbbz?
Yes, with H3H3.
Yeah.
I haven't watched iDubbbz in forever.
He just came out with a new video the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't he start simping pretty hard?
Simping?
Oh,
He's a
I don't.
simp now?
No, he's not a simp. His girlfriend has a OnlyFans, which a lot of people said he was simping, but
I don't know if I wouldn't be.
I
okay
guess
with that.
it's his choice. If he's fine with it, I don't think anyone else should care.
I think I have one word for that.
Simp?
Simp.
Oh, simps.
Merry Simpmas.
Merry Sipmas. We
Merry
should make that a
Sipmas.
holiday. We should celebrate it, and that's the
July
day.
5th.
That's the day that you like really go like hard for your girl. Like you just kind of just like do everything they tell you to. You know what I mean?
Like, degrading things?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, stuff that degrades you?
Like
being pooped on?
Because I'm usually the kind of guy that, like, will do stuff for my girlment, but I don't do
No, I mean,
degrading
like-
things.
I mean,
Like,
like going-
buy her blueberries on the way home from work?
like go
Where
10.
did I see that?
Oh my god, it's in the group chat.
What?
It's in the group chat. I'll show you after.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll show you.
But no, it's just like
I'm sweating.
I am too,
Sweat up a storm in here.
and I think I might have to go number 2 soon.
I'm not,
Let's do it
because
on
I'm
my
wearing
chest.
shorts.
All right, I'll just poop right here.
My chest.
Oh, I thought you said poop on the chest. Like,
My chest.
oh, is that fireworks?
I don't know what it is.
I thought that was your
Probably just bombs. Who cares?
rectum. 'Cause you wrecked it.
The rectum wrecked it.
Rectum.
All right, are we running out of topics?
Well, I'm done. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I'm done.
I think I'm done too.
I want to get out of this room.
So do
Yeah,
I.
it's very
It's
hot.
hot as fuck.
Yeah, we need to do something about that.
Alright, let's end this once and for all.
Terry's back from the dead again.
Hey guys.
You came in just in time for us to end it. You can end it.
Yeah, end it.
Well, guys, thanks for listening to Grandma's Room Podcast. We'll catch you next time.
Episode.
12.
I always gonna let him guess.
You know, hey,
13.
wrong.
Minus.
10?
Yeah. 10?
10?
Oh, shut up.
It's one of those numbers, guys.
It's
But,
something.
thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.